And we are back for part two of Keiani's interview with us, Queen Keiani. This part of the interview, we're going to talk more about her book, Spilled Milk. Once you get into this live, be sure to share the live with as many people as possible. We're going to get right back into the questions. I thought it was best for us to just go ahead and end the first half so we wouldn't lose it, and then just come back and do part two. I think I'm going to do that for the rest of our planned interviews for this series. Okay, so I'm just going to take some time to reshare this interview. Let's get some people back in here. Share with as many people as possible. And we're going to get started in just a few minutes. Share. Okay.
Mommy, I want to
Hey, y'all, I'm getting Spider-Man dressed right now. One moment.
Okay. What's up, family? I see y'all coming in. We are back for part two of Queen Keiani's interview. Definitely be sure to go back and watch part one after we're done with this one, okay?
Keep your underwear on.
I want to play with them.
Oh, okay.
He want to be Spider-Man right now.
Yes. He loves this. This was his Halloween costume.
What's up, family? What's up, family? Please share the live with as many people as possible. Right now, we're talking art, we're talking growth, we're talking book, we're talking Black, we're talking love, we're talking everything right now.
You want to show them your suit?
Not yet.
You don't want to show them? Okay.
But he said not yet.
All right.
Okay, let's get back into it. The last question I asked you was just talking about your experience in Huntsville, in the city, representing your Blackness, and how you didn't always feel comfortable doing that, which I feel like a lot of us, we need to talk more about that, because I feel like Black artists are the only ones that have to limit themselves sometimes, or that are asked to limit. Oh, look at you, Ryan.
All right. They said you look cool, babes. All right. Close mommy's door, please. Close the door. Okay, just close it. Okay.
But yeah, I feel like Black people are the main artists that are asked to limit themselves when it comes to performances, and I don't feel like it gets enough attention.
Yeah, it does not. And I think, like, I remember growing up. I remember I said I was really into Kanye. You know, that's what kind of got me into poetry and writing. But Kanye had the song Homecoming. And growing up, when I was younger, I was like, oh, I wonder what girl had Kanye in love. Like, you know, he met this girl when she was 3. What? Like, he fell in love with the love of his life. You know, my small mind. And I remember being in high school, and I had that moment hit, like, oh shit, he's talking about his city.
Yeah.
He's talking about Chicago. And I just was like, damn, I want to feel that way about my city. I want to feel that way about Huntsville, you know. And even in his song, he talked about how, and if you really cared for it, then you wouldn't have never hit the airport to follow your dreams. Like, he left the city. And I felt that so hard, because even in high school, I was like, damn, I'm going to have to leave my city to go and follow my dreams, because I did not see there being a space here for me.
And you know what? I kind of felt that way about my city, about Mobile, leaving, just because, not because it was bad, not because I didn't get the experiences I needed, but because I felt like I needed more. And it was a lot of things that I wasn't able to see because we didn't have, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like you're gonna always find that person in your city that feels like that about their city.
I agree. And I was just getting ready to say that. I think everybody can feel it, but I think the difference is it's just like a Black child never seeing themselves represented in a space that they want to be successful in.
Yeah.
You know, except for apply that to a small town. You feel
Yeah.
me? Like, I didn't see any Black women poets growing up in my city. I had to go on YouTube when YouTube became what YouTube is to find a Black woman doing what I do. I mean, I learned about Maya Angelou in school, but that wasn't tangible for me. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a space to express myself. You
Yeah.
feel me? So that's why I think it's so important that as this city grows, we don't forget about our Black youth. We
Right.
can't. You know what I'm saying? We gotta lift them up with us as we grow. And I think a lot of us in our city right now are trying to make so much space for ourselves. I just don't want the youth to get left out of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I love that. We definitely need more events to where the children can be there and participate.
yes, because like I have students that follow me on Instagram that I used to teach, and
Mhm.
I'd be like, "Oh, y'all don't be hopping on these lives I'm in spin poetry because it's not for you." But you know, some of them are interested in writing. Some of them
Yeah.
are amazing writers, but again, there's not many spaces for them. And so, like I said, one of my goals is going to be creating some spaces for my young Black creatives from my city, for sure.
I love that. I love that. Tell me about your first experience on stage.
Oh my gosh. I wonder if my cousin is still in here. I don't know if Pamela is still here. And I'm trying to, because Pamela was there. So I started writing poetry in 10 years old, not 10th grade. I was 10.
Mhm.
I spit my first poem in a 7th grade talent show at Sparkman Middle School. And when I tell you I was shaking in my damn boots, I honestly, I was so shy growing up. I don't know what the hell, Pamela's here. I don't know what the hell compelled me to get my ass up on that stage and sign up for a talent show. Like, that was out of character for me, dead ass. But I wrote this poem that was called Why. And it's so, I'm gonna tell y'all the first few lines. Look at Pamela. See, she performed it at school. I did. And like, I'm not exaggerating. Like, this is how it went. So like, I get up on stage, and I remember people looking like, Keiani, what the hell she about to do? You feel me? Like, doing on stage. And I was shaking. My voice was so nervous. And I had a little notebook at the time. Girl, in front of the whole school, exactly in front of so many people, the whole school. I had a yellow notebook that I still have, and I wrote this poem, Why, that talked about the world. Y'all,
I want to get up.
I was 12 in 7th grade. I was young for each grade that I was in. So at so I got in front of.
I want to do my costume.
You want to show your costume? Okay, one more time. Yay!
I love your costume, Uriah.
Let's keep doing it.
Keep doing it. Okay, well, you gotta let me talk. Okay. So I school my yellow notebook, and I was like, why must we live in a world with so much hatred, where people think smoking is an amazement, where it's whether you're rich or poor? Need I say more? Why must we live in a world with so much discrimination? This isn't a true united nation. Nigga, I'm saying this in front of white. This is a predominantly white school. Like,
Oh wow.
I talked about BMW might be standing for Black Man's Wish. Girl, what the hell? I don't. I was 12. Like, I was 12, but I meant that shit. And I said it with my whole chest. And I remember this was the second time I've read my poem to anybody, because remember, the first time was to my mom. And I remember I got off stage, and I had my white teachers coming up to me in tears, girl.
I'm sorry.
Really?
They were like, I can't believe you see the world like this at 12. And I just was like, that's just how I feel, you know?
Yeah.
And I just remember my English teacher being like, wow. And she was a black woman at the time. They were just shocked that I could articulate what I did at that age, you know? And even at that time, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just writing from my heart. I was writing what I felt. And again, I got that feeling of I'm just this 12-year-old girl, and I can relate to somebody that's 3 times my age.
Mm-hmm.
It was a surreal experience. I can't even describe that feeling. It's just a feeling, and I wanted that. I wanted to continue that. I got addicted to like writing how I felt and seeing that other people felt the same way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from then on, that was going to be my career, period. And also, I said I was going to be the first female president of the United States. That was my other.
Come on, President.
Because I was like, this country need to change. You know what I'm saying? I'm 12. I'm gonna change the world. And I remember when
Period.
you asked me that, and I said it, the whole class laughed, and I was like, okay, there. But I'm gonna be the first female president. I didn't even say black female. I said first female president. But no, seriously, when I came off that stage, I was like, yeah, I could do this for the rest of my life. At 12, I knew it, and that's what I still am doing.
And
So
see, it's crazy because I started writing at 10, but I didn't get into spoken word until like junior year of high school.
really,
Yeah, I didn't even really I didn't even know what creative writing was. I didn't know what I was doing was creative writing until I actually had to take a class, and it was broken down to me. But as far as a stage, I had no idea I was going to become a spoken word artist. Like, my first performance, I was terrified of the microphone stand. I don't know why. Like, I just hated standing in one place. I was like, oh my God, I feel like everybody looking at me. I don't know if and I'm big on memorizing my pieces. So, like, the whole time I was up there, I'm just like, am I saying the right lines? Like, I was just spazzing in my head. But like you said, I had no idea that it was going to become something that I loved. And for you to put yourself on a stage at 12 and do that,
crazy.
it was it was meant for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, but let's get into your book. Walk us through the creative process for Spilled Milk.
All right. So I released A Slice of Pie. That's my first book back in 2016, 17.
Mm-hmm.
Child, I don't remember. 16 or 17? 16. It was 2016. So I remember, so I have these, it's almost like as soon as I get a creative project out, the next one is like right behind it. So it was like, it's weird, y'all. It was like the day I posted about A Slice of Pie, Spilled Milk concept just came into my head. And originally, Spilled Milk was supposed to be an Instagram poetry book. So back in 2016, I was obsessed with how, yes, you can get some chocolate milk. Hey, close my door. I was obsessed with like how people had their Instagram feeds all organized. Like you would go to their page. So like I had this vision that I wanted to release Spilled Milk on my Instagram and do one post at a time until the book was finished. And the book was going to be finished whenever I felt like the book was going to be finished. So it was going to go on for years. And I did. I started it. I started posting, and it was on the right side of my page, and I just was hashtagging Spilled Milk. And I didn't tell anybody that it was a book. I didn't tell anybody the concept. I just started doing it. So I would post pictures of me, and then I would post, a colorful background with some words. And so some of the poems in this book are from those times where I was just writing Spilled Milk, because back then I was trying to get over this dude. And Uriah, turn the light back on, please. I was trying to get over this dude, and I was like, I'm so tired of crying over this. I'm tired of being sad over this dude. Mm-hmm. So Spilled Milk, the saying, don't cry over spilled milk. That's all that. That's where that birthed from. And there was a point where, so a few of my friends from UAB that loved my poetry reposted one of the poems I did, and it was the poem, You Treat Me Like the Couch. They reposted it, and I saw this video of a creative talking about how their words got stolen from them. And like basically, you know, the Pinterest days where like quotes got, you know, recycled and
Yeah.
you don't know who their original person is. And I got afraid. I was like, I care so much about my art. I would be devastated if somebody tried to take some of my words and say
Yeah.
that it was theirs. And so out of just being scared of that, I took it off my page, and I was like, I'm gonna just have to publish this because I will literally square up with anybody that tried to take my
No,
words.
for real.
Yeah. So it turned into this. It turned into this book. And I even floated the idea of doing an ebook, but it's something about having a physical book that just hits for me. So that's where the idea came from.
I love it. And you break your book down in 3 sections. It's the spilling, the crying, and the cleanup. Tell me about that.
All right. So the spilling is like all shit breaking loose. Like the spilling is like, I picture it as like you're just taking all the milk out of your fridge and just throwing it everywhere. Like it just felt like this explosion of realization of how much pain I was in. Like, you know, it was just like me getting to every aspect of how I fucking felt and was like, here it is. Fuck it. Let it all spill out. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And then came the crying, because like after you put that shit all out, you're like, damn, I've really been through some shit. It really hurts. And I let myself cry. And the crazy thing is, this was 6 years ago. So we're talking about each of these 3 stages had years.
Yeah.
You know, the spilling for me happened. It was shit was spilling in my life for years, y'all. It was not like a day or two of throwing milk. Like I spent years crying over the spilling. You feel me? I spent another couple years just crying about my situation, about shit I just felt like wasn't fair in my life. And then came the cleanup, which was really the hardest part. Because now it's like, what you gonna do? You gonna stay in the crying? And go back to the spilling? Hell no. Nah. I'm trying to heal. I want to move forward. And to heal and move forward, it takes fucking work. And I'm still in the cleanup of my life. That shit is not over. So that's what the 3 sections represent.
I love it. Okay, tell me, how would you compare and contrast the writer and creator you used to be to the writer and creator you are right now?
I am my most authentic self at 28. At 10 years old, I did not feel safe being Keiani. She peeked out in poetry from time to time, but in the way that I dressed, in my conversations with people, and who I was attracted to, you know, I just wasn't my authentic self. And so even when I revisited, I never stopped writing poetry, but I did stop performing after 7th grade, and I didn't perform again until college. And yes, girl, that's a big gap, right? I didn't perform my own poetry again until college. Now, I had a moment in high school where I entered a poetry slam, but I did poetry by like Robert Frost and shit. It wasn't like my poems. But like, yeah, so even me at UAB was not my most authentic self. I think I was trying to find her and figure out who she was and what she liked. But the poet that I am now, I will write about whatever the fuck I want to write about, and I'm going to say it however I want to say it, and I'm going to do it. The only difference is now I'm going to do it in spaces I know I'm safe to. I'm not going to extend my energy in spaces I feel like I have to make myself small. And I feel like somebody asking me to only talk about certain topics is me making myself small. And I refuse to do that. And it's no shade to nobody's events and stuff, but I gotta put me first in that because, you know,
you're an artist.
Yeah.
And you sensitive about your shit. Like
censored, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We spent our whole lives being told to shut the fuck up in so many different ways. And so this poetry shit is for me to speak the fuck up. I'm not being quiet, you know, I'm not talking about certain shit. And what I also feel is different about this version of myself is I don't really care about how my poetry is perceived. I remember I had a poem called Text Messages, and people who from UAB that like my poetry, they know about text messages, baby. People from UAB, they know text messages, and I remember every time I got off stage, somebody was like, "Damn, I ain't never sending you a text message," and I used to get so mad. I'm like, "Damn, y'all missed the whole point of the poem. Like, it's not sending text."
You know, some people take other people's poetry so personal.
Yeah.
And they think sometimes I know me, sometimes I don't write about my life per se, but I can write a story up now. Like I can talk about some stuff, but people take it to heart sometimes.
They do. They do, and sometimes it's a case of projecting their stuff. Sometimes it's just that hit dogs holler. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I have an understanding that like people are entitled to take my art how they want, which is why I'm at the stage now of I don't give a fuck, because the intention is there, and I don't get to control what happens after that. But I get to control the intention and where my heart space is at when I'm writing, and that's what I'm more so focused on. So with that being said, when I am finally sitting down and writing, there is no limits for me. Yeah. I don't worry about,
you know where I was?
Yes, you were hiding. I saw you. Yeah, so I enjoy this version of myself, just being so free to just write. I think that's how we should feel in any capacity with creating, is, you know, creating without limits, especially limiting our feelings, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Tell me, which poem out of your book took the most patience to release?
Oh, Lord. So I'm never...
Look, you flipping the page.
I'm not going to read it because, y'all, look, my kids spilled hot chocolate on my book. Ironic. But there is a poem in here about my mother. Actually, there's two poems in here about my mom. Okay. Okay, mommy needs a minute though, okay? Okay. So I wrote a poem about my mom, and it's a letter. It's a letter to her, and that was hard to include in this book because, again, the other aspect of writing poetry, right? You're talking about people, like, and this is my truth. This is my perspective on my relationships with people in my life, and so I always feared people being painted as a villain in my stories of poetry. Yeah. But also, when I feared that, I wasn't being true to myself. I wasn't able to face certain sides of what I experienced with those people because I was so afraid. I was valued. Go use the bathroom. You got a potty. Go use it.
You were trying to value those relationships
more so than my own feelings.
Yes.
Get to a
point.
I
definitely understand that.
Of like, nah, like, you know, I gotta write this shit out. And so in this shit about my mom, it's probably one of the rawest moments that I had with my poetry, because my mama, the poem before the letter to my mom is about how beautiful and strong my mother is. And then the letter is about, yeah, you did some fucked up shit too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as a grown woman, I understand.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like me placing any blame. It was like, I get it. It was fucked up.
It's like I get you.
Right. And so it was just like for me, it just was a beautiful send off to like, now, you know, I just want you to focus on you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to focus on her. So that was the hardest poem to put. I almost didn't put it in the book, but you know.
Did she read it?
No.
No?
No, my mom has not read my book. She doesn't even know that poem is in there, and I'm still figuring out how I'm going to navigate the conversation. I am going to have, but I just have to figure out how I'm gonna navigate it. So.
Nice. Tell me, do you have any expectations for this year? Anything you want to get accomplished?
Yes, I want to release more content this year. Now that I have the book out the way, I have a lot of ideas content-wise that I need to just get off of my mind. And so that's what's coming. And it may not actually release this year, but at least the filming of those concepts will take place this year. And so I'm looking forward to that. And also, I I want to do something for my community this year. And my thing is, like, I have these really grand ideas, and sometimes I get really discouraged when I have to, like, downsize them.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that I have for the community of young creatives in Huntsville, I know I'm going to have to start small. And so this year I plan to start small. And I'm working on several children's books right now. So I want to at least get one ready to launch in 2013 or 2013, 2030, 2023.
23.
But yeah,
That sounds so weird to say.
I know that didn't even roll off the tongue right, you know. But yeah, so basically more content, continue writing, and music, child. I gotta get into the music. So
Definitely. Your book release?
So my book release is one thing at a time is always a good idea. Yes. Especially for us ADHD brained people. It's hard to focus in, but it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
So my book release is next Friday. We're gonna be reading some poems from the book.
Mm-hmm.
My beautiful friend Humble Lee is gonna be performing.
Love her.
So, one second, I gotta talk about Jasmine Loren. Her name is on the book. She illustrated this beautiful cover.
Mm-hmm.
All the illustrations in the book are done by Jasmine, and so I really wanted to just also celebrate her at this event and her art. So she will be there, have some original art pieces to sell.
Oh, nice.
Encourage people to purchase from her and just support her, because that's a whole nother aspect, like how that all came together for this book and how effortless that process was. Like, yeah, that's another story for another day. But I really appreciate her, and Black woman to Black woman, I just want to celebrate her as well. Now, I love you too, Jasmine.
Oh, she's on here.
It is. Y'all hit her up for all your graphic design needs, for real. She's very talented. And ironically though, when I released A Slice of Pie, I wanted Jasmine to do my artwork. I had decided that, like, I want to work with Black women only for my project, period. But at the time, I think she just had a lot of commission work she was doing, and it just didn't work out. But, you know, everything. And I never let that go in my mind. I was like, okay, well, my next book. And if that don't work, my next book. But I'm going to Jasmine.
My tablet, Mommy.
And I was working with another illustrator. Yes, I will. Give me a second. I was working with another illustrator for my book, and that didn't work out. And I was like, yeah, Jasmine. So, yeah, that'll be next Friday.
I always know what's your first mind.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's no shade to the other artists, because she's a beautiful Black woman as well, very talented. But just sometimes creative ideas, you know, they don't align in that time. And, you know, you never know what the future may hold for it. But it was meant for me to do this with Jasmine. And so next week, we will both be celebrating our art at this book release. Dark Side Coffee, 7 p.m. You have to purchase a ticket, or if you have a copy of my book, your copy of the book is your ticket in.
The book is your ticket. I got mine. Get yours.
Yes, and we're gonna be masked up. We're not playing with Corona. We're not. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna have masks on and spit some poems and have a good time. Oh, I'm also releasing my visual to the book at that event.
Oh, yes. I'm excited.
It'll be first looks.
Symbolic said the illustration in the book is amazing. Seeing what was inspired from the poems Nah, y'all did that. Jasmine said it was amazing working with you. I'm beyond grateful.
Oh. No, like literally, like I sent Jasmine like several poems,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't give her any direction for like what I wanted it to be. I just told her like I want you to just be inspired by what you see.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because the stuff that she came up with was literally things that I felt in my mind, you know. When I saw them, there was not one I asked her to redo because it was just like all of it was perfect. And
Yeah.
that's exactly how I want to feel when I'm creating something and I'm involving a team of people. That's how I want to feel. So,
I love it. Keiani, you are an amazing artist and friend. I just love you so much. I remember the first time I saw you on stage. I will never forget. And it was fun because it made me laugh when I actually got to that poem when I read the book.
yeah.
But I was at the camp and she got up on stage, y'all. Beautiful black girl, you know, and her poem was called Hot Chocolate. And she just reeled everybody in that was there. And I'll never forget that. And I remember me having to say something to you because I'm just like, who is this person? On stage, like I felt like I met my poetry sister. You know what I'm saying? Because I haven't met a lot of poets up here like that I actually just clicked with.
Girl, I had the same moment. And at the time, I was with one of my friends, Destiny, and
Mm-hmm.
I performed together that day at the camp too. And when you got on stage, we both looked at each other like, who is that? Before we leave here today, we got to go to her because, like you said, it was just like, I just did not meet a lot of black women who did poetry. And
Yeah.
not only were you a black woman doing poetry, you were dope. And I was like hearing certain lines, my mouth was like, huh? She said, what?
And that was my exact same reaction to you. So it's crazy. Okay, so now we're gonna open up Q&A for everybody who's on here. If you have a question for Queen Keiani, click the question mark at the bottom of the screen, type in your question, and I'll be able to pull it up for her to answer. If you missed it, her book release is on January 21st at what time?
7 p.m.
At 7 p.m. Location?
Dark Side Coffee on the north side of Huntsville. It's a black-owned coffee shop.
Love it. Definitely come out. How can they purchase your book? The link is in your bio.
Yep, queenkeiani.com. The first thing you'll see is the RSVP for the event. And your ticket comes with a copy of the book and a drink.
Mm-hmm.
You can also just purchase the book on the site too, if you'd like.
I love it. You got a question? Let's see. How do you grow as a poet and an artist?
That's such a great question. That's my cousin. How I personally grow, this is a layered question because on one end you have to consume art. I truly believe that when you consume good art, you can train yourself to make good art. So
Yeah.
good taste in music, you can make good music. Why? Because you know what good music is supposed to sound like. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and even the term good taste in music, like that's subjective to, you know, your personal whatever's. But I like to consume art. Clubhouse has been one of the most life-changing things I've experienced as a poet. Since I've been a poet, I have met a community of beautiful poets who are real, who are sure in their craft, and who are talented as fuck, and
Yeah.
who have pushed my pen in ways that nobody has, that no prompt has. Okay? So finding a community of people who share your love for your craft is so important, no matter what lane you're in. You know, if you love to rap, you need to have a friend group full of rappers.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a poet, you need to have a group of poets that you go to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Music for me is also another aspect I grow in because it inspires me. It gives me new ideas, and also just life. Like, this has been the hardest part for me as a writer, is to just let life happen. Like, I don't have to always feel like I'm writing to feel like a productive poet. Sometimes some seasons are just for living so that you can come out with this.
Sometimes you just gotta shut up.
Yeah, and live life and let life hit your ass or
Mm-hmm.
cite you, because this shit is 6 years in the making. Okay, this is 6 years, and these are not the only poems I wrote in the 6 years,
Yeah.
but this is a story in and of itself, and I had to live life in order to get the inspiration to write. And so a lot of it too is just not getting caught up on producing, making art, making content. Sometimes you just got to live and grow as a person. You know what I'm saying?
And
So
love yourself.
that that is key.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Gotta love yourself to love your poetry.
Yep. To love any art you create, because honestly, it's gonna be people out here that don't fuck with it. That's just reality. Some
Yeah.
people are not, they may like you as a person, but they don't fuck with your art, you
Yeah.
know?
And that's okay.
And that exactly, and that's okay, because as long as you know your intention behind what you're creating, and what if your intention is for people to like you and to get followers, you're not gonna last. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna choose some other shit eventually. Like, I genuinely believe that that's what's kept me being a poet from the age of 10 to now, and I know I'm gonna die a poet. You feel me? I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say that, because I don't do it for other people's praise. Truly, like Mick Jenkins says, for the art form and never the hand clap, because that shit is fickle, you know?
Definitely.
So,
I have a question. Okay, so I know you love Kanye, preferably old Kanye. How do you feel about Kanye now in 2022?
Jasmine Mans, which is a person who is one of my favorite poets, they have a poem about Kanye West. And
Mhm.
when that shit came out, I was like, hell yeah, that's exactly how I feel about that nigga. Because when I tell you heartbroken, like,
Heartbroken?
Kanye broke my heart, because like, this nigga like inspired who part of who I am as an artist. And as a black woman, I felt like he did not fuck with me as a black woman. And to go from saying shit like George Bush doesn't care about black people, and coming out with songs like Bring Me Down, where he talked about his mom's dad, who was used to be at the sit-ins and shit. You know what I'm saying? Kanye talked a lot of black culture shit
Mm-hmm.
in his early career. So to go from that to fucking telling motherfuckers to vote for Trump, fucked up. So heartbroken. Like, and at the end of the day, that's a celebrity. At the end of the day, they're celebrities. We don't know these people. But from the art aspect, just from the music aspect, I was very disappointed. And it just shows you that, you know, you can't have no idols out here. Like, I remember years ago, one of my good friends, Jordan, when he was first starting out in music, we had just got out of high school. And I asked him, I said, who's your favorite artist? And he was like, me. I was like, and so I'm thinking, he's just on some, confident ass shit. But like,
Yeah.
no, like, you have to be your favorite artist. You
Yeah.
have to inspire yourself at the end of the day more than anything, any other influence can, because people are going to disappoint you.
Yeah.
And I learned that with Kanye, because even though he sparked a lot of who I am as a creative,
He's
he's still,
not you.
he's not me. And he's just a person. He's a human being. And the whole other side of that, I'm just, as a black to black, I'm disappointed. Like, you know, so I fuck with these four albums and Graduation. You feel me?
But I really liked the last album he just released though. I don't know if it's because, I didn't lose my mom, but I lost my dad. And I
Mm,
felt like when I listened to it, I don't feel like it was for an audience. I feel like it was strictly like towards his mom. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, I feel like he wrote it specifically for his mother instead of the world. I don't know. I like the different phases of Kanye because he's just very.
He's a Gemini. Like,
He's a Gemini, but I'm not gonna be biased, but I feel like I understand him in different ways, just because he's just so all over the place, you
yeah.
know. And he's one of the few artists that actually like add on to his projects after they're dropped. Like he'll go back and tweak little things, and you know, if you're a real fan, you know, like he'll just go and change stuff up to make it perfect. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so I like that. I like that aspect of Kanye, but he has said some crazy ass things in the past few years.
And I think that as I get older, what I hold important with art is your influence. You know, at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, especially like we just talked about, we finna become the OGs. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Inspiring the young black girls before me. So what the fuck do I look like telling them to vote for Trump? For I don't, you know, there's just no rationale to me for shit like that. And so when I see that, it just affects how I can experience that person's art. Does that make sense? Like, because of what art is for me and music is for me, it's hard to separate the person when it comes
Oh,
to the extremes, because that's an extreme. You feel me? To me, like that's an extreme difference. You used to speak from a place of a black man in America, but it's like, of course, you know, people change, they mature, they grow up, life hits people, and I get that. But with that being said, I don't relate no more.
if he didn't come so hard within the culture as old Kanye, do you feel like you would still feel that same way about him now, as far as like the switch up goes?
Yes, because for me, I got more comfortable in my blackness as I got older, and so
Mm-hmm.
I look for that in my art. I look for people that inspire me, that I look
Yeah.
for inspiration, I should say. I
Yeah.
look for that because that's an important aspect for me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that you're gonna reach back and help your people.
Right.
That you are so comfortable in yourself that you can inspire my sons to look at you and feel like I could be that. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So if I feel like what you do as a black artist or any type of artist is not rooted in something like that, it's just hard for me to connect. And it's not even like that has to be your whole identity, right? But it's just this overt like representation. Like you're with a Kardashian who they're culturally they're just known for stealing from black women. You know, like I used to be like, you supposed to marry Mr. Rainey's daughter. You feel me? From Bring Me Down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the there was a woman he was engaged to before Amber Rose, and that was like the last black woman he was with. And I feel like there's just so many layers to this, like just this level of success that you
You
know.
are really disappointed.
Because like you just play into the typical thing, you know, and I just feel like I'm over it. I'm just over it. Ain't nobody getting a pass. Kanye shit is on my wall, and you still don't get a pass. Wrong is wrong. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
You and especially for him, you stepped out really hard, going hard for the culture. You know, and so to see that on such a to be flipped on his head to this degree for self-serving purposes is just fucked up to me. Like, yeah, slavery was a choice. Like, the fuck? You know how harmful that rhetoric is to our
Yeah.
people? You know what I'm saying? That's harmful. And to be in that position of power and influence and say shit like that, you further justify these systems that are in place. You know what I'm saying? And it's,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm disappointed.
I get it. I get it.
I don't like it. So,
And I think the Gemini in me kind of understands because I feel like
Where's the best?
by the door, baby.
I feel like you know how people look up to people without the person really wanting people to look up to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like his fans made him this, you know,
I gotta
cultural outlet,
first.
you know. But I don't feel like he wanted that. I feel like he wanted to just continue to be sporadic with his thoughts and say whatever he wanted to say, but he doesn't realize how much impact he put into the Black community.
And that's because when you get to a certain level of privilege, it's like you just forget. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mm-hmm.
no longer relevant to you. That struggle is not relevant anymore. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you get caught up. And I feel like that's what happened. And he has a lyric himself and can't tell me nothing that says to whom
Hey,
much is,
Chris.
say what's up.
What's up?
To say who to whom much is given, much is tested. Like nigga, you knew what you was getting yourself into. You knew. I just feel like a level of influence, again, you just have a social responsibility. You do. And it's not something that you ask for. It
Mm-mm.
comes with it.
Yeah,
And I look at a woman like No Name, who even she's
I
still,
love her.
yes, she's still considered an underground artist,
Yeah.
technically. But with her platform, she really goes hard. Okay, she lives within her means so that her surplus can go back into the community. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that is the most ideal response to fame, to making it, being signed, whatever. That's the most ideal, because for us Black folk, it ain't enough of us in these spaces.
It's not. It's really not.
It's not equal. And I feel like the only way for us to kind of can come up out of it is to help one another,
Most,
and there are systems in place that teach us not to and teach us to compete. I get all of that, but I'm rocking with the ones that's trying to further us. I'm not with this pull yourself up by the bootstrap mentality, or
yeah.
like, nigga, your ancestors are pissed that you're spitting this shit. It's just impossible.
Most definitely. Okay, so we are still in Q&A. If you have any questions for Keiani, click the question mark at the bottom of the screen, type in your question, and I'll pull it up so Keiani can answer it for you. Be sure to buy your book. The link is in her bio, Spilled Milk. The book release is next week on the 21st at 7 p.m. at the Dark Side Coffee Shop. Okay, be sure to get your book. If you buy a ticket, it comes with a book and a drink, right?
Yep.
It comes with a book and a drink. If you already have your book, then just bring your book and it's the ticket. You're gonna get in.
Yes. Now,
Also, bring your mask.
the drink is not included if you come in with just the book. You will have to buy a drink, but the drinks are not alcoholic, honey. We're at a coffee shop, so it's like
Yeah,
a little winter beverage type of thing.
nice. Definitely don't forget your mask. Um, we gotta stay safe out here. Does anybody have any questions?
No, baby, hold on.
If you do, click the question mark at the bottom of the screen, type in your question, and I can pull it up.
I want to have my own.
Keiani, do you have anything that you want to say before we end the live?
Just that I'm thankful for Sound on the Hill, because you all have a very authentic way of including artists and making them feel seen and heard and respected. So I really appreciate y'all for that. And for any creatives in here, just be yourself. And I don't know, there's just not a time limit on good art. Like Jay talked about it. Good music lasts forever. This is how we never die. So, it's no rush. It's no rush to put out whatever you're trying to put out. This book was supposed to come out in 2020, and then fucking COVID happened, and some other shit happened in life. And so I'm saying all that to say that, like, things happen in their timing. Don't get so caught up in putting something out versus just healing, perfecting your craft, making sure it's quality and something that you could be proud of, And it ain't about how many books you sell, how many people come to your event, none of that. It's really about putting your art out there, because it's going to fall on whoever's ears it needs to. So
It does every time. Okay, we got a question. How can Black men support Black women more? I like that question.
I love that question. And
Mhm.
the question itself just shows that that's a lot of love, even to even
Yeah,
act. Um, but I think on both sides, we just need to listen to one another. That's the first thing. Communication is always, relationship. It's
yeah,
key. Like, listen and hear without being shamed. I think
yeah,
one of the poems in my book talks about speaking up and just this idea of like, when we speak on our experiences, don't diminish them, or make excuses. It's just like somebody that did you wrong. And I'm not saying black men are the only sole source of doing us wrong, but you get done wrong in a relationship or something, and you bring that to them, and there's not changed behavior. They're making excuses. You know what I'm saying? And so it makes you feel like your perspective doesn't matter. And I feel like black women, we just don't feel heard, and we get shunned a lot. We get pushed to the side a lot when we do try to speak, and being seen as angry or whatever have you. So I think start with listening and then action. And unfortunately, this country has damaged our black men a lot. Like, it's so deeply rooted. And I think that one way black men can support black women more is going to therapy. Like, I
yeah.
need our black men to believe in therapy and go and get healed. Because of the history that we have been through as a people, all of us need it. There's not one black person in this country that does not need therapy. We all need it because we're functioning in a system that was built to make us slaves. Like, that is a lot on our mental health. That's a lot. It affects us a lot more than what you would think. And so that's what I think we need. We need black men to self-love, to love themselves, to
Yeah.
take mental health, and then they'll be able to come and approach us, and we can work together to continue building our community. Um, so yeah.
I love that. Okay, do we have any more questions? If you have a question, click the question mark at the bottom of the screen. Type in your question so I can pull it up for Keiani. This is the last time I'm going to say this because we're wrapping it up. But I'm really excited about next week for the book release. Can't wait to see your visual. And then, the next day we have our ladies' night at EQ. Are you performing?
I am. I will be there. Okay, let me see.
Yeah, definitely. If you are a female artist and you're in Huntsville next week on the 22nd, pull up to our ladies' night at EQ Labs. It's $10. We're gonna have some vendors there. Uh, it's just gonna be a vibe, a good time. Play the network.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
okay, going once, going twice with the questions. Thank you so much, Keiani. I really appreciate you. Yeah, it's all love since
Always.
day one, and you still are my poetry sister. Like, I'm not I'm not even gonna get in depth with it. Yeah, you're just amazing. The book is amazing. I'm really proud of you. Um, like I said, you are a super mom and you just attack life so well.
Thank you, child.
You
I'm
do. You do.
just like everybody else.
Hmm.
But I appreciate you. And thank you, everybody who stayed and listened to me talk, child. I appreciate y'all. And shout out to Jasmine again and the whole team who helped me put the visuals together for Spill.
Yes.
It's Target.
I'm excited for people to see it. It's beautiful. And it couldn't have been done without the team. Baby, okay, I'm about to get off here and I'll charge it. So yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to end this live. Thank you so much for watching. I think we have an interview tomorrow. So our Hill Holiday series is definitely still going on for the whole year of 2022. We have a special going on. If you are an artist, creative, business owner, whatever, you can fill out the application in our bio. pay a $22 fee and you can sit on here on live with us for an hour to talk about your brand with personalized questions and whatever, showcase your brand too. If you want to, say a poem, rap, sing, do a giveaway for your business, whatever you want, we want to give that time to you to do so for our audience. All right, Keiani, thank you so much. And this is the end of this live.
All right, y'all. Everybody have a good night.
See you.
Bye.